All right, what up, everyone? So your host John Mosales here. It's week 2 NFL Fantasy Today show. It's Sunday morning. Me and Jason are fresh as daisies, and we are ready to go. So give us all your questions. Start sits, any trades, anything crazy. It's fantasy football, and you cannot afford to go 0-2. So let's get started. Nathan, what's cooking?
Yeah, another great week of football. I went 6-3 across the board last week, so I got a couple teams I got to scrape together a win. And yeah, just looking forward to another great week. Not too bad on the injury front in week 1, so that was pretty all right. But we saw Thursday night football go completely the other direction, so we'll see how week 2 treats us.
Yeah, week 2 is kind of the angel of death for fantasy football. Jason, how about you? Long time no see.
Yeah, no, you missed me for the last 3 days, huh? No, not honestly nothing. But yeah, week 2. Hopefully, that Thursday night game was not a harbinger of things to come.
Harbinger, nice Sunday word.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Eckler's out with his Achilles tear. Jaden Reed broke his collarbone.
Yeah.
Was there another one?
No, it was just those two. But I mean, those are significant fantasy related injuries. Eckler was obviously the number one back in Washington coming into the year. But also he was being pushed by Ja'Cory Bill Krosky Merritt, and now it's Krosky Merritt's backfield.
For better or worse?
I mean, for all the hype he was getting, it's probably for the better because everybody, it seemed like everybody was drafting him higher than they were drafting Eckler. So eventually, they were drafting that one for down the road, but now it's down the road is now.
Mm-hmm. So let's just talk that Thursday game quickly. So yeah, Jaden Reed's out. He had a Jones fracture, so a lot of people already were kind of drafting him late. But Matthew Golden has done nothing.
Yeah.
Jason, what are we doing with that wide receiver room? Is Romeo Dobbs? Is he a must pick up? Dontavian Wicks?
I would say Dobbs is the more priority ad than Dontavian Wicks at this point.
Okay, Nathan, what about you?
Yeah, I agree. I liked actually Romeo Dobbs a lot as like a late round best ball guy. He seemed like 2 years ago he was like a top 5 red zone target guy, and Christian Watson is still slow to get back. They signed him an extension through to kind of appease him this season, I feel like, so that he takes his time. And now with Reed out of the picture, it's just going to Dobbs is just guaranteed to be an automatic full-time receiver.
Okay, but what do we do with the rookie, right? Matthew Golden had a lot of hype in the summer. I saw some video where like a guy was like he didn't drop a single pass any practice, training camp, preseason, and then he just had I think he had no catches. I think he has 2 on the season. You're obviously not going to drop him, but are you going to start him in week 3?
I'd definitely take a wait-and-see approach with him now. Even though the door's open to more snaps, Reed got hurt pretty early, and the opportunity should have been there all game for him. And I think that there's enough guys out there that I would start over Golden at this point that I would rather wait and see.
Okay. We gotta. So, anyone watching on Twitter, jump over to YouTube. We can drop a question. I'm gonna just let them build up for a little bit, and then we're gonna hammer them out. Let's keep going. Week 2. Jason, what's your? We won't even talk about Niners. It won't break your soul. But what's your games? What games? You get everyone in game. What's the game you wish you had like 5 fantasy players in?
Well, first off, you won't break my soul anyway. I mean, ASU won last night, so we're good. But it's still the Chiefs and the Eagles. I feel like that game is going to be. I feel like there's going to be a lot of points in that game.
Really? Why? Because I mean, both teams. There's a couple pods I listen to. The Chiefs second half under is like almost a lock, and then Philly same thing. They both play right to protect a lead. So whatever team goes up is going to try and drag the clock out.
Yeah, that's true. But if you look at the Eagle game last week, they scored on the first 8 possessions of the game were scores, and then the Chiefs game, the second half got pretty wild. Like once their offense got going, they were able to start putting up points. I mean, Patrick Mahomes had his best fantasy game in a couple of years last week.
Did he really?
Yeah, he had like 24, 25 fantasy points in a 4-point league and like 26 in a 6-point passing touchdown league.
You love those 6 points. Okay, you know what? That is a good point because if the Philly defense is taking a step back because their secondary is like banged up or lost some guys, and then the KC defense is taking a step back, and both offenses are kind of still great, even though that KC offense a couple problems. Right, Worthy's out, Kelsey's washed.
Hey, 37-yard touchdown last week. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, I could see it. Who, Nate? Who are some of the low key guys you'd start? Like, because Dallas Goedert's out, right? Does anyone get a bump for you on either team?
I think that no one I'm itching to start that I wouldn't already in this game. Like AJ Brown, Devontae Smith should get bumps for sure with Goddard out, and I think it'll just come down to whether or not Hurts can find them whenever Spag sends blitzes at him, and I think that there's a big game in store for at least one of the Eagles receivers here. And on the other side, the Chiefs just need someone to be able to beat Kansas City downfield, and they don't. Like, unless it's Hollywood Brown or Tyquan Thornton stepping up, then I don't see how they put up points this game.
Okay, because it's like sometimes it's like you rule things out, right? The Philly rush defense is great, so Pacheco's probably not going to have a good game, right? Eagles are, I think, last year the best team against tight ends. So, okay, Kelsey's out, but then they were really good against number one wide receivers. So it's like Hollywood. So does that mean like Juju Smith-Schuster is like a deep threat? Jason, what do you think?
I mean, Juju Smith, yeah, he just, Juju's like one of those guys who's like just randomly pops off for a game, and you just can never figure out when it is. You just got to hope it happens when he's in your lineup.
Oh, for sure. But
it's just so
where's Hollywood for you and must start? Like if you had Hollywood versus Devontae Smith, who are you starting?
I'm probably starting Hollywood, just because Hollywood's the number one receiver for the Chiefs right now. He got targeted 16 times after Worthy went down last week.
Okay, so how high does that go? AJ Brown, you'd still start AJ Brown over Hollywood, right?
Yeah, because the other thing is when AJ Brown had a bad game last year, and then would go out with the media the next week, he would go.
That's true. Okay. Nathan, for you, where's the line? Tyreek Hill or Hollywood Brown?
Ooh, I'd say Tyreek just because New England got shredded by Geno last week.
Okay.
Christian Gonzalez is like that again too.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, Jason, we talked about Thursday. I always try to get Brian to talk about how he weighs his model, but he always kind of squirrely. So I think the Eagles were great against wide receiver ones last year, right? Is it Quinyon Mitchell?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, right. But CeeDee Lamb week 1, we got a small sample. He went off for 100 yards and he had a couple drops. So sometimes pass defense can switch from year to year. So you're not worried about the Philly. What are you worried about from the Philly defense doing to KC?
We're going to see how Jalen Carter comes out for starters. I mean, he's the center of that pass rush, but it's more so less I'm worried about the Philly defense. I just feel like Kansas City's going to finally adjust a little bit.
Okay.
They know to anybody they did not have their best offensive season last year, and definitely want to prove some things to some people.
Yeah, lost to Philly in the Super Bowl. I think Mahomes after a loss is it's some crazy number.
Yeah,
so
bounce back is.
Okay, so Mahomes is must start, right? Mahomes, I think he was top 5 QB. What are we doing with Mahomes, right? Because that Philly defense, and on one side you're worried because they're good, but also the offense is good. So if Philly puts up points, high score game, Mahomes will do well. Nathan, Mahomes or Geno Smith? Who are you starting?
Mahomes.
Okay, Mahomes or Herbert, Jason?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Right now I got to go to the guy who won last week, so I'm going Herbie.
Okay, well, Mahomes or Kyler? Kyler's playing Carolina, one of the worst defenses in the league.
Mahomes.
I'd probably go Kyler there.
Okay. That's enough for KC Philly. Let's move on. Nathan, give me a game. What's a game you wish you had 4 or 5 guys in, or hopefully you do?
Probably Cincinnati, Jacksonville.
Okay. Nice.
Both these teams feel like they they left meat on the bone in week 1 on offense, and they have a lot. They seem like they have a lot in the in the tank to kind of really split out, and this seems like an easy 30 plus on each side game.
Yeah, I mean, Burrow had 113 yards. The only thing everyone knows, Burrow has a week 1 hangover, but like me and Jason, but sometimes it carries over into week 2. So that's the worry, right? I think sometimes it takes him a little bit to get going, but if he can't get going versus Jacksonville, what's the point?
It's just,
and then go ahead.
I was saying it's just so funny to me because the Bengals had this whole thing this preseason about needing to start fast, needing to start fast, needing to start fast, and their offense does this.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Tom Brady in the Super Bowls, right? By the time he was in the 5th one and he averaged 60 yards or 50 yards in the first quarter, he's like, we have to start fast. And I was like, okay, I believe him. And then he never started fast. It's just some things are just not possible.
Yeah. The only problem is the Bengals defense will not. I don't feel like the Bengals will allow as few as 16 points in a game again the rest of the season. So yeah, I'm with you, Nate. There should be a lot of offense, whoever.
Yeah. So obviously we're starting Burrow, we're starting Chase, we're starting Higgins, we're starting Chase Brown. Does anyone else creep in like Gesicki? Like let's say you had Kittle, would you maybe try and slide Gesicki in there, or in Jacksonville, Brenton Strange? Since his defense really bad, Strange looked pretty good in week 1.
Yeah, I like Strange a lot. I don't know if I touched the Cincinnati tight end yet. There's a decent amount that I like still. Brenton Strange, he made some great blocks too. He's gaining the favor of the offense in general. Like he's just going to be a full-time player out there running routes and making blocks. And the more that he can do it and become a full-time player, just the more opportunities you're going to see him get.
Okay. Oh, Jason's been okay. And then so what we had Travis Etienne, right? He really showed. I think he had more rushing yards than almost last year combined in week 1. Something crazy like that. Not that close, but are we buying him? I mean, week 2 they traded Tank Bigsby. Clearly they believe in Etienne but Bashul Tootin, right? Would you start him as if you needed to start like a backup running back this week? Because Etienne's obviously a must start.
Yeah, I'm not trying to start Tootin right away. So the way the snap share broke down in week 1, Tootin saw less snaps than the later rookie Jarquez Hunter, but every time that Tootin was on the field, he got the ball. I think it's a clear indication that he should be the guy that they want taking the lead role eventually. I just think for now, Travis Etienne is just gonna kind of run wild until his wheels fall off.
Okay.
And he gets a great matchup with Cincinnati this week too.
So I like to use the matchup as my the tiebreaker, right? Because a lot of times it's just you'll have on your flex spot, you have 4 or 5 guys, right? So like Travis Hunter, I was listening to a pod and they said like rookies, first round rookies, especially top half who struggle in week 1, they almost always do. They always pop in week 2. So like I don't have Travis Hunter anywhere, but like for me that's enough where I would be putting him. I would be putting him over any, even like a tier below because it's like you got the matchup. There's some historical tendencies. He led the Jacksonville in targets. It's a really nice spot, I think.
100%. Yeah, I think that this is just a game where both offenses could flourish, and I think I'm even starting De'Ami Brown in a rebuilding dynasty league this week, just as an upside chance.
Yeah, because also it's like we know. Do I gotta let Jason back in? Yeah. Oh. We know Brian Thomas Jr. is going to bounce back, right? And then also if Jesus, Jason, you're driving me crazy. Travis Hunter bounces back, so that means Trevor Lawrence is also a must start, right? So would you start Trevor Lawrence or Pat Mahomes?
I probably still trust the talent in Mahomes. Lawrence, I'm still waiting to see like a statement game from him. Like he's turned into a bunch of like average skating by. I just want to see one like eruption game from him, and maybe I'll be late if I don't start him this week. But it definitely could happen here.
Yeah, I mean, should have happened in week 1 in Carolina, but Carolina's run D's terrible, so. Yeah. Okay. Let's get to a couple questions here. We'll see if Jason's going to bounce back. So remember, anyone, if you're on Twitter, jump over to YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe, comment. We're going to be answering questions for the next 45 minutes. All right. Dino Bekarovic, something like that. Pick 2 for PPR. Okay. We got George Pickens, Amarian Hampton, and Mekabuka, Ricky Pearsall. This is tough. Anyone, I mean, they're all pretty much right in the same tier.
Yeah, I know it's PPR, but I'm probably starting Hampton for sure of the
Okay.
three. I see the Chargers leaning more into the run in week 2 against the Raiders. They're not going up against Chris Jones like they were in week 1, so I think they'll kind of teeter back towards the ground a little bit more. And of the 3 receivers, I don't think I'm interested in Pearsall with Mac Jones at QB. Just given
Really? Well, let's wait. Let's stay with that for a second. So I agree. Yeah, the Mac to Brock is a huge downgrade. But last year with Mac on Jacksonville, he hyper targeted Brian Thomas Jr.
I'm in this vacuum here with just these 3 players. I think I'm leaning that I'll take the consistency at quarterback with Dak Prescott or Baker Mayfield with either of the other 2 options, and I'd probably go Pickens there against New York.
I just want. Oh yeah, San Fran's playing the Saints. We don't know how good their D could be. Okay, Jason, you back?
Yeah, we're back. Thank goodness.
Okay, so that makes sense. So Jason, we're on this question here. We're going to start Hampton, even though it's PPR, but Pickens, Ibuka, Pearsall, right? Nathan tried to rule out Pearsall because it's a QB downgrade, but that makes sense actually. Even though Mac Jones. Oh, this is your question. Even though Mac Jones hyper targeted Brian Thomas Jr. last year and went off. Pearsall is really the only weapon there. Jennings is questionable. Does that make you a pro for Pearsall or anti?
I'm actually a pro for Pearsall here because out of the 3 wide receivers in this group, he's the one wide receiver 1 at this point.
Yeah. That's totally true.
And then Ibuka playing Houston. I think Houston's got a crazy good secondary. I kind of worry about that. So for me, it's Pickens or Pearsall. PPR, I don't know. I mean, it seems kind of stupid to bet against Dak, but I think I would go Pearsall.
Yeah, I'm taking Rick here.
Okay.
I'd probably still lean Pickens, but I changed my stance on Pearsall. It's for sure a good spot.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like a loop. You're like, oh, terrible QB. Wait, terrible QB could be advantage. Like his first reach there might be like 40%. All right, Ryan, good morning. Standard League. Start Travion Henderson, Nick Chubb, Tyrone Tracy in the flex. Jason, I'll let you start with you. So we got the Pats are playing Miami. Miami defense sucks. Also big rain threat. Thank you, Larry V, for your weather report. Houston, we got Nick Chubb playing. I just talked about it. Tampa, not a great run defense, and then Tracy playing Dallas, not a great run defense. So what's the breaker here?
I don't know about a breaker per se. I just, as banged up as Chubb has been over the years, I just trust him more right now. I don't trust the Giants. Still, you just never know with the Patriots, especially, somebody who came from the Belichick tree. Can't really entirely trust them. And Mike Vrabel just yet. Plus, they still have a couple other backs, so I'm going Chubb.
Okay, Chubb. Okay, Chubb might be third for me. Nathan, you got any good stats for New England or the run splits or anything from last week?
Nothing off the top of my head. I do like Travion most here. I think he was efficient with his touches, and I think that it's hard to bet on. If you wanted to bet on one guy to fall into the end zone for a standard league, I like Nick Chubb here, but I have no faith in that Texans O-line.
Okay.
But I do know that Henderson was much more efficient, and Stevenson's just going to get faded out of existence, I think, this season.
Yeah, I think I read something where they said they're going to make the carries more balanced, but I think Travion had 5, Ramondre had 7 maybe, but Henderson had 6 receptions, right? So standard league receptions don't really matter. Not ideal. I don't know. This one's tough.
I think that in this case, I would start Henderson here because I would say with a bad matchup, receptions do matter because you're getting more opportunities against a bad defense. So I like the idea of Henderson getting the ball a dozen times against Miami.
Yeah, probably scoring one. Okay, yeah. And then Tracy, he might just get game scripted out, right? I mean, I think Dallas is going to put up points. They're due. Okay, all right. AQ Fresh. He couldn't join the pod, but he can answer questions, ask questions. Jason, Justin Fields or Michael Penix? Your favorite 6-point pass touchdown. This one was easy, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, as I say, I mean, either way, Fields seems to be putting up touchdowns. I know we kind of talked about this last week about how the Bills might be like feeling and doing after a game like Baltimore. Baltimore is one of those games that you're always going to be a little physically hungover from just because of the sheer brutal physicality of it. I actually really like Fields this weekend, especially with Penix having to go on the road to Minnesota and take on a Brian Flores defense. So I'm Fields here.
Did you play Baltimore last night?
What? No, Texas State.
Okay. So Nathan, this becomes kind of matchup based because like Penix might throw for 3, Fields might account for 3. I think that Buffalo defense is pretty bad. Right, Oliver's out, their secondary's banged up. They can't stop the run. But then Penix playing Minnesota, who likes to blitz, but they got no secondary. And then Darnell Mooney's back. I don't know what I would do here. I love Penix, but I might lead Fields just because I know the floor is higher.
I think that Fields is the pick here. We saw Lamar Jackson destroy Buffalo with the read option again on Sunday night, and I don't see any reason why Justin Fields can't have 50 yards and a touchdown on the ground again here. He had 2 last week. Michael Penix, it's just a tough matchup with Brian Flores' defense in Minnesota. That pass rush looked pretty freaking good with Javon Hargrave getting 2 sacks against Caleb Williams. And there's an avenue for Penix to success, but I just think Fields is so much safer to get you to help you win your week.
Yeah, I'm just not a believer in this Minnesota defense. I think they stop the run, they blitz a lot, but I feel like they give up a ton of passing yards, especially if it's a competent QB. I don't know. I think Mooney and London are going to go nuts this week, but we'll see. Okay, oh my God, Anthony, you're hijacking the podcast. Jared Goff or Michael Penix? This one's a bit more nuanced. 6-point pass, 7 rush yards a point. Okay, but none of them rush. Points per completion, big play bonuses. Okay, well, it's do we believe in Goff without Ben Johnson?
Yes.
Really?
I like Goff a lot this week. Feels like a big bounce back spot for Detroit at home. Back in a dome for Goff. Chicago slot corner is out this week, so Amon-Ra should be.
Is it Jalen Johnson?
I think so. I'll confirm that in a bit. But I think this feels like a bounce back spot for Goff, so I like them this week.
Okay.
Also, point for completion changes everything here. I'll take the quarterback I know is going to get me easy completions.
Yeah, Penix did have if there's a game script where Penix is just putting his foot on the gas, they had the 7th fastest time to throw in week 1, and I feel like it's going to be a bunch of 12 play drives for Penix where he's got 5-6 completions a drive.
Okay. I don't think he's in 12 play. I think it's going to be 6 play drives with a touchdown, but let's move on here. Okay, we got the big Kurt Angle. Evan Ingram or Kyle Pitts? I also got Drake London and Bijan starting. I don't think I'd go super overload on Atlanta. Jason, what would you do, right?
Ingram, you got to hedge something.
Yeah. Did Pitts do much in week 1?
Yeah, he looked pretty good. I think he had 6 for 58. Mooney back should hurt his target share a little bit, but I think he's going to need to be involved for the Falcons to win this game. They need to get their secondary guys involved.
Yeah, but you wouldn't triple stack these Atlanta guys, would you?
No, I guess not. Ingram coming off a calf injury that kept him out of the 4th quarter. I was a pessimist on Ingram coming into the season, at least compared to others. But I guess when you got 2 other Falcons, you lean Ingram here.
Yeah, that's a lot. So, okay, let's keep going here. We got Garrett Wilson / Brees Hall or Nico Chase Brown. I don't really understand this, but okay. So you go full Jets? I mean, what a game. This is the game you'd want to go Jets, right? Buffalo offense is great. The Jets defense didn't look that great, so this could be another 30 points on each side. Brees Hall looks like he's going to be a top 5 running back. Garrett Wilson looks great with, that two is tough to break. So just Jason, talk to me. Garrett Wilson, Brees Hall. You're in on the Jets, right?
I'm in on them right now. I feel like you got to strike while the iron's hot, and the iron's hot for them right now. So until teams adjust, yeah, I'd ride with that.
All right. What's the two player like tandem that you would take over this Wilson Brees Hall just for fun? Like CMC Pearsall. Who would you start?
I'm starting Garrett and Brees.
Oh wow. Okay. Nathan, what about Genty Jacoby Myers?
Definitely starting Garrett and Brees.
Yeah, Garrett and Brees.
Okay, let's I don't know, Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers.
I'm going Henry and Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So we found there's a limit. Okay.
I was searching for those two names in my brain.
Nico Chase Brown. So I think 7 of the top 10 wide receivers last week had like under 50 yards. Probably unprecedented. Nico's got to be a massive, like the biggest bounce back in history, right? They're playing Tampa. Tampa secondary is not very good. The defense isn't very good in general. Probably got to pass on Tampa, at least historically you do. And then Chase Brown playing Jacksonville. Jacksonville sucks, at least on defense, or should. Where are we at? Just so Nathan, give me. This is very tough for me.
Yeah, this is. I still. Oh, I don't know. This is really tough. I think I might lean Wilson Hall still of these two.
Okay, Jason. I guess we got to go doomsday. Is there any scenario where Wilson and Brees don't do what they're going to do?
I mean, there's always a scenario where they don't do what you think they're going to do because of the Jets. So that they can always revert back to being that. But last week was so encouraging to watch with them. With them and their rushing offense, and then just Fields and Wilson, that connection never seemed to leave. So it seemed like they picked up right where they left off. And yeah, I feel like you got to ride that out for one more week if you have it.
It's just so tough because I haven't never turned down Nico rule, right? So it's like I think he is that Houston offense. I think it's such a great matchup. Also Tampa, maybe they can put points up on Houston, and then Chase Brown versus Jacksonville.
I would say if you're 0-1, take Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall. If you're 1-0, take Nico and Chase Brown.
Actually,
I'm
the other way on this one.
Really?
I want to know you go with the Jets. If you're 0-1, go with the guys that you drafted really high.
Yeah.
We drafted Nico really. Both Nico and Chase went higher.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're 0-1, go with Nico and Chase.
I don't know. This is just such a fun question, even though it doesn't make any sense because I don't know what the scenario where you've got to choose these two or those two. But I think it's like, okay, it's just it comes down to the defense. Like, do we think the Bills' defense is going to be crap? And I do like that after Baltimore, they're on the road, Jets at home. But like, I feel like maybe this is like the game the Jets have been blowing for decades, and it's just we forget because they had one good week 1.
It was a good fantasy week 1, not a good enough actual week 1.
Okay, we're gonna move on. We'll move on here. Ivan Moya. Who do I start in my flex? Nick Chubb, Stephon Diggs, Travis Hunter, Tony Pollard. Okay. So Jason, you faded out at this point, but I heard there's a pod. I was listening to a pod when you disappeared.
Yeah.
You don't have to give me a look. The rookies who were drafted like really early, like first half of the first round, they almost always disappoint week 1, but they always pop in week 2. So I'm really leaning Travis Hunter because I do think that it is a real stat, and they're playing Cincy. He led the team in targets. I think so. I might go Travis Hunter just for this fact.
Yeah, I would too. I think it's a good flex play here. Again, that Bengals defense we've talked about it a number of times on a number of different shows already, and I feel like this is one he could really take advantage of and really have that breakout game. So yeah, I'm definitely leaning Hunter here.
Okay, Nathan. I think it'd be Hunter or Tony Pollard, right?
Yeah. Pollard if you want volume, Travis Hunter if you want upside here.
Okay, but so make the argument for Pollard. I think he had a big fumble last week, but playing the Rams defense is actually pretty good.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup, but just it's a pure volume based pick here because there's nobody healthy at running back. I believe it's just him and Julius Chestnut that are the only healthy running backs on the active roster. They might sign someone up from their practice squad, but that's all they got.
Okay. So Jason, you're hardcore Travis Hunter. Boom.
I actually think if you want upside here, Stephon Diggs. I mean, Miami's secondary got torched last week.
Mm-hmm.
Diggs is such a loser. Yeah, but there's talk of major thunderstorms in Miami though. So
he actually had a decent game last week, though.
I know he did. No, he did. Okay. Let's see. Do we have we got a few. All right. Ivan Moya, Kelsey, or Ferguson? I don't think you can start Kelsey against Philly this week. They're so great versus tight end. Ferguson. I guess you go Ferguson. He didn't do much in week 1, but I don't know. Jason, you going Kelsey?
I'm going Ferguson. Ferguson also did have a red zone target that he got. You remember he caught a touchdown, and then I think it was Reed Blankenship hit him in the head, and they got flagged for 15. So he did get targeted in the red zone.
Okay, Nathan, is Kelsey how the mighty have fallen?
Yeah, this is tough, man. It's like you'd think like this is his week with all the injuries to Kansas City's receiving core, but it's just so hard. I mean, I'm probably still starting Travis Kelsey. It's
okay.
It's
fair.
hard.
It's Travis Kelsey, but I mean, it's just Philly #1 versus tight ends. They clearly have their defense designed around shutting down that middle of the field, and it's not like Kelsey's Kelsey anymore. So. And he says Ricky, he's got Pearsall on all his best ball teams. He's on baby due today, so I can't jump on the pod. I have more. Okay, Nick Judge, Hunter Pollard, Standard League. So it's the same question. You just give me a Standard League. So Standard League, I lean a little bit more towards Pollard, right? Because receptions don't count. But I still Travis Hunter. I mean, Cincy defense. Yeah, it's a problem. It's close to a coin flip, but I'm going Travis Hunter. Anthony's Island. You're not on an island with Penix. Everyone's on Penix Island, but I mean Justin Fields versus the Bills is just too tasty.
John, I actually want to bring this up before the next question. Standard League. I feel like Standard League now is half PPR. I feel like that's like the standard.
What? No, Standard League is no PPR.
Is it no PPR now? Because I feel like everybody's shifted to at least half.
I know, but that's what they say standard, I think, right? Nathan, am I wrong?
Yeah, standard is just like the declared like for the non-PPR scoring. Even though I agree with you, I think half PPR is the most popular format.
Is the standard. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Chris X Cross 04, morning boys. I got offered Puka, Ladd, and Pacheco. Puka, Ladd, Pacheco, okay, for my CMC and Brian Thomas Jr. 12-team PPR, 3 wide receiver flex. I have Nico as well. Dope. Jason, what are you doing? Are you getting rid of CMC? Sell high, I guess.
Yeah, sell high. I think you're getting 2 wide receiver ones here and an RB2 for for an RB1 and a wide receiver 1. I think that's the value. If you look at the projected point value, it outweighs the others. So I'm actually doing this. Yeah,
12-team PPR is nice. Well, 12 teams nice. You get somebody good on the wire. Would you try and do it after week 2? Because CMC's got a nice matchup and Pacheco's is terrible.
If you can sell high on a guy who may get injured, I feel like you got to sell high on the guy who may get injured.
Okay. Nathan, what are you doing?
Yeah, I honestly, until further notice, Pacheco is like a 0 to me. Like with that backfield, you cannot start him with how they have chose to mix things up until he shows that he can seize and I was a big Pacheco guy coming into the season too, but just the way the backfield broke down, Brashard Smith, the rookie, took the second snap of the day. Kareem Hunt just usurped all short down duties in one game. It's hard to put any faith into Pacheco being something this season.
So who would you start? Like you'd start backup running backs over Pacheco, like Trey Benson. You'd start over Pacheco this week
with the Carolina matchup, probably.
Right. What other RB2s like Charbonnet?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Charbonnet's going to start getting more opportunities too. I mean, who got the goal line touches last week?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think it was more so that like the drives that Charbonnet was in got to the goal line. I think this will be like a back and forth backfield, like just whoever happens to hit in Seattle.
Yeah, I think it'd still be Walker, but it was alarming. Sharps, I think I carried him 12-10. Okay, what about Braylon Allen or Najee Harris? Would you start them over Pacheco?
No, not Harris for sure. Maybe Braylon Allen against Buffalo. He did get opportunities, just didn't do anything. He got a goal line touchdown in week 1. So I would consider Braylon Allen, but that's deep.
Okay. Anthony has Dynasty League, half PPR. Do you wait for the Brock news Monday night or go Hawk? Great question, Anthony. Thank you. I think they pretty much said Brock practiced. He's going to play. But, stranger things could happen. I do love Hawk. What do you do, Jason? Do you play it safe or do you go all out?
I would actually wait, and I'm sure Michael Mayer has some availability on your waiver wires, so I would wait for Brock Bowers.
Yeah, if you can afford to if they'll let you put Brock on the IR, pick somebody up for them. But if your opponent, it's dynasty too, so it might be bigger rosters. Mayer might not even be on the wire, and your opponent might be smart and see that what you're doing and pick up Mayer too, right? So there are some risks involved.
Yeah.
He's not on waivers, right? So yeah, dynasty leagues are usually deeper.
Oh yeah, then you gotta go Hawk. All right, Mayer not on waivers, Hawk.
But shouldn't you maybe wait till Sunday night to see what your point matchup is? Like if you're down 20-20 going into the matchup, you got to play Bowers, right? But let's say you're up 10, he only has a guy or two left. Maybe you play it safe with Hawk.
Yeah. You see where you're at. Maybe you're down like a point or two and just need one guy. Then you play Hawkinson, and you just go from there. So so that's where you're at matchup wise is always a good thing.
All right, Ivan, more questions here. We got Dak or Mahomes. Okay, this is like the question of the day. I would go Dak because we know they don't really want to run. I feel like he had no touchdowns week 1. He's super due. Jason, I think you'd go Mahomes here though, right?
Oh, I'm going Dak. Especially with CD. CD's going to want to make amends for some of the drops he had last week, and I feel like it's going to be a big Dak CD day.
Okay, Nathan, what are you thinking? So, did you watch any of that Giants game? What's their secondary? Because their front four is really good, but you can throw them.
I can't remember off the top of my head, to be honest with you. I still lean Dak from what I saw against Philly. I think before the stoppage, they were kind of just having their way with Philly. Obviously, no Jalen Carter, but so it's a matter of the Giants pass rush getting to Dak. But I think their offensive line looked pretty good in week 1.
Okay, because there's so many like ipso factors you can do. So Dak looked good versus Philly, so then Mahomes will look good versus Philly too, right? But and then game script wise, Dallas probably up on the Giants. Maybe they're not throwing late in the game. Chiefs are underdogs to Philly. Maybe Mahomes got to throw to catch up. It's tough, but I think I'd go Dak. I don't know, but it's like betting against Mahomes in this situation. It's like how many times does he have to prove himself? He's done it every time. So it's tough, but I'd go Dak. All right, this is our last question here. Is that Johnny Manziel, Etienne or Ibuka in my flex today? All right, Nathan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I'd like Etienne here. He's my RB9 this week. Ibuka, Tampa Bay gets a tough defensive line matchup without Tristan Wirfs. They got that Houston front and secondary. I like Etienne here.
Okay, Jason, cosign?
Yeah, I'm co-signing here too. Etienne had a good game last week. Bigsby got traded, so there's at least some degree of faith in Etienne. I'm riding with that.
Yeah, I think Ibuka is going to be amazing all season, but he had 2 touchdowns in week 1, but it's just matchup. I think Houston's got a great secondary. I'm just not, I'm not going out of my way to start Ibuka today. Where Etienne I would be. Okay. So
the one league I have him this weekend or tomorrow, I should say. I don't trust Jalen Waddle at this point.
No, you shouldn't. I never trusted Waddle. So all right, guys, we're gonna go for about 10 more minutes. So if you got any more questions, get them in. Or you can also hit us up on the Discord after. I'll be going on there. Let's talk. So let's talk our own teams. Anyone have any tough start sits?
Ooh.
Maybe it's not so tough, but Aaron Rodgers and Tua in a super flex.
That's pretty tough. That's pretty tough. I think with Rodgers.
Yeah, against Seattle with Miami in a bad weather game potentially.
But defense-wise, I like that Seattle secondary, and
I know.
the Pats. The Pats look terrible. Jason, Rodgers or Tua? That's gross, eh?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I think you got to ride what Rodgers did last week. I actually like Rodgers here. Actually, I got one for you guys. Ricky Pearsall or Jalen Warren in the flex.
Pearsall for me. I feel like Rodgers doesn't like running backs. Yeah, I think he had 5 carries last week.
Yeah,
I love Jalen Warren. Huh?
Did have a receiving touchdown.
Okay.
I like Pearsall there.
Yeah, that's what I'm leaning right now. Now we have, instead of having 3 days to make that decision, I have about an hour and 40 minutes.
Okay, we got one more for you, Ivan. Tony Pollard, Nick Chubb, Devontae, Charbonnet, RB2. Ivan, is these all different leagues and you have Tony Pollard, Chubb in all of them? Javonte, well, I don't know. What are we doing? Nathan Pollard, I think, seems pretty clear. He's right starter, guaranteed usage. Maybe not the best matchup.
I hate to admit it, but I think it's Javonte here. That Cowboys O-line looked pretty good. They had like the highest run success rate in week 1 against Philly, who, even though no Jalen Carter, yes, that's still a good Philly defense otherwise. And yeah, it's another tough matchup on deck too with the Giants front, but I think that the Cowboys, even though against my and many others' expectations, I think they are going to run the ball successfully.
Okay. Jason, so yeah, Javonte.
I too like Javonte here. I hate to keep agreeing with Nate because obviously you like to have debate on these shows, but right now, I would go with Javonte. He may not score touchdowns again, but I feel like he will. Feel like he'll run for some more yards. Maybe find the end zone too against that Giants defense. And Dallas did run well last week.
Okay. No. Agreeing is good. These are start sit questions. If everyone just disagrees, we're not really giving any advice. Okay, so we'll go a few more minutes here. So yeah, I had a couple where I picked up in my high stakes leagues. I picked up Cedric Tillman. I got Keyshawn Butte. I got Juwan Jennings. And then I got one spot for that and Khalil Shakir. Let me pull this. So it'd be like Shakir, Butte, Cedric Tillman, Juwan Jennings.
Fighting for your last receiver spot?
Yeah.
I'd probably go Shakir.
I like Shakir here too, and the reason I like Shakir is with Keon Coleman's breakout game last week, he's probably going to draw more attention from Sauce Gardner, and I feel like you can still get to DJ Reed on the. I think DJ Reed is still a Jet if I'm not mistaken. You can get to him on the other side.
Okay, and then that might be a sneaky high scoring game too. Yeah, Shakir. Yeah.
Rodgers threw 4 touchdowns on him last week. I'm sure Josh Allen could throw for 14.
That's true. That's a good point. Okay. Well, we're running out of steam here. Anyone got anything else? Any other games? Let's do one more game breakdown, and then we'll call it.
Figure out some of the matchups.
What?
I'm trying to like rack my brain on some of the matchups.
Denver Indy. Where are you guys feeling on that game?
I'm squeamish personally. I think Denver's defense is really good, and I don't think Danny Dimes is going to go repeat what he did last week. I know Michael Pittman had a big game. I'm squeamish seeing him go against Pat Surtain.
Yeah.
I feel like Bo Nix will have a better game this week. I still don't trust Indy's defense quite yet. So I'm half in on that game in terms of I like Denver's players a little bit more than I like Indy's.
Yeah, Indy is kind of their defense is kind of like on like a watch for me because I feel like they could sneaky like become like a bad matchup in Indy with Lou Anarumo there now coming over from Cincy. Uh, I think that they could become like an avoid matchup uh, for some weeks. But I agree. Daniel Jones should come down to earth against Denver to like probably a complete 180 in matchup with Miami and Denver. Um, yeah. John,
Yeah,
your
no,
thoughts?
it's so tough to gauge because we don't really know anything yet, right? We got week 1, we got last season. Like Indy was one of the worst defenses in the league just halfway through the season, and they finished really strong. Last week they looked good, so maybe they're good defense, maybe they're not, right? But we know Denver's a good defense, and they showed in week 1. I'm big on playing the matchup even early in the season when we're not sure. I'm not starting anyone in Indy. I don't try like Jonathan Taylor. Sure, I'm obviously against starting, but I got Daniel Jones in Superflex. He was QB3 last week. I'm benching him. I've got Downs. I'm benching Downs. I've got Tyler Warren. I'm not playing. Actually, I'm playing him in a George Kittle league.
I was gonna say I liked Warren this week just
Yeah.
at the idea of the Colts wanting to avoid throwing it to
Deep
the
or just
secondary.
And they said they were going to get him more involved too. Yeah, okay, yeah. Warren's probably pretty safe.
They're going to get Warren more involved. They targeted him 9 times.
Maybe they're going to run him, let him throw.
I'm saying he can throw. He also can throw too. That's another little wrinkle that he adds. So you may be able to sneak in a passing touchdown or 2 from him this season.
Okay,
I can't wait.
so quickly, one game I guess we haven't talked about much. Let's just do Chicago, Detroit, right? So Detroit, Gibbs and Monty both had like under 30 rushing yards. That's not going to happen again, right?
Yeah, most
Yeah.
But so what's Detroit going to do, right? We got no Ben Johnson, so we don't really know what their offense is, and they suck versus the Packers. Goff threw 39 times and 31 completions. Are they going to pound the ball? Are they going to let Goff handle it? Jason, what's your gut say?
I feel like you're going to see a lot more. I think you're going to see a lot of balance. I don't think Gibbs and Montgomery will be held like that again. So I feel like you're going to see more of a dosage of them.
Okay, Nathan?
They're also not going to be a lot of the 39 throws had to do with game script. Like they were so far behind. They were behind like the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
So
Pacheco or Monty? Who are you starting?
Monty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Bears were beatable on the ground last year. I think they allowed like the 6th most fantasy points to the running backs on the season. I think that's still probably their weakest spot. That's obviously where the Lions have had a ton of success in recent memory, and no reason they shouldn't bounce back at home here.
Okay, so anyone who's borderline sits for you? Like, are you starting DeAndre Swift? Like, the Bears don't have much of a running game. Detroit's been very good against the run in the last couple of years.
They could not run the ball. I think they had like a 19% run success rate in week 1. It was the worst in the NFL. DeAndre Swift just is still the same DeAndre Swift with, he's an explosive athlete, but he just has terrible vision as a runner. And that's what you're getting with him. So if you're starting him, don't watch the games, but be prepared for any outcome.
So would you stash the rookie? Was it Kyle Monaghy or something?
I am in a few leagues just in a pure like maybe just contrarian to DeAndre Swift. Just assuming that they make a change at some point. I also think that they could be, if something sours in New York, that the Bears could be a Breece Hall destination.
Well, that looks
that
pretty
would be
sweet
interesting.
so far. Okay, guys, we're gonna wrap up. We got a lot of stuff still to do before games kick off, an hour and a half. It's been a great show. We'll be better next Thursday, I promise. What else? Any last words? Perfect. We are good. So, anyone playing each other in fantasy? Anyone know your matchup? Jason, you
I think I got Big Loaf this week.
Big Loaf. Oh, my man. Okay. Okay, guys. So that's it for us. If you got any more questions, hit me up on Twitter or check us out on the Discord for start sets. Otherwise, we'll be blurbing throughout the games, and we'll be back next week. Okay, cheers.